From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In the NoCo. I'm Brad Turner, in today for Erin O'Toole. People in Colorado have found themselves in the middle of some nasty encounters with moose in recent weeks. A moose attacked a woman last weekend in Steamboat Springs. The woman was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. Wildlife officials say the moose was likely trying to protect its two calves. And that incident came on the heels of other moose encounters that left people injured near Fairplay and Grand Lake. Around this time last year, In the NoCo's Erin O'Toole talked about this with Bridget O'Rourke. She's a public information officer with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And we were revisiting that interview today. They spoke about several moose encounters that happened in summer of 2025, which you'll hear them discuss. Here's Bridget offering Erin some advice on how to be safe around moose and explaining what makes them dangerous.
They can be up to 6 feet tall and 1,000 pounds. We're talking about a big animal. The other thing about moose is they're not naturally scared of humans. So like a bear, you can raise your voice and act really big and scare it off. But with a moose, it's not going to respond in that same way. So moose might look docile, but they are very aggressive.
Is there a certain time of year they're most dangerous?
Yes. So calving season, which is our late spring into early summer, we just have those cow mooses who are being very protective of their young. And this is just a very sensitive time for them right now because they can see things as threats, humans getting too close. Dogs, they see that as a threat. And then another time that's really sensitive for moose is in the fall when they're looking to mate. So they're not very common, but they do happen.
Good to remember. Now, moose are herbivores, but they can be very belligerent around humans. Are they aggressive to other species, or is there something about humans that sets them off?
I think what we've noticed with moose attacks is most of the attacks happen with a dog in the area. And so human attacks will happen because the moose is scared of the dog, and then they'll charge back towards the humans if the dog retreats to the humans.
What is it about dogs that trigger moose to react defensively?
I think it's because it's just that innate behavior that they think it's similar to a wolf. And that would be a predator for them. And so if a dog is barking and getting aggressive, then its reaction is to just charge, basically.
Bridget, I know you yourself have had scary encounters with a moose. Can you tell us a story of one encounter that was especially scary?
Absolutely. So I was walking around Sprague Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park, and I did know it was moose country because I'm walking along water and there's thick willows. And then all of a sudden I saw a cow moose and a calf kind of pop up, and I could see that her ears were back. So immediately I knew, okay, I'm way too close. So I was calm. I said to the moose, I see you. My apologies. I will back up. I started placing trees, distancing myself so that if the moose was to charge, that something would be in its path. I was thankful I did not have my dog with me. So I just got back as far as I possibly could. And I warned some other hikers, and there was this older gentleman, and he wanted to pull out his flip phone and walk up to the moose and take a picture. And I had to tell him I wouldn't do that. The animal's going to get aggressive and it could really hurt you. So we all kind of just stood there and waited for the moose to mosey off the trail and go on its way. And it's just important to know that moose have the right of way on trails. Always. We cannot outrun them. They are big, unpredictable, and it was magical to see the moose, but I'm glad that we coexisted and it was a safe experience.
I appreciate you looking out for the other people too. That is very kind. You mentioned the moose's ears were back. Is there other defensive body language to look for?
So when moose are starting to show signs of aggression, their ears go back, the hairs on the back of their neck will be raised, they'll lower their head, they'll sway back and forth, they might lick their snout. And basically just a best practices. If you're doing anything that's going to change the behavior of a moose, then you're too close.
In one of the recent attacks, which took place near Grand Lake, a cow moose had a calf with her, which, as you mentioned, makes them more aggressive. A couple was out walking their dog on a leash when a moose with a calf charged the woman. What do you recommend people do if they're going hiking with their dog?
So really being mindful of where you're hiking. And so if you're going to be along water where there's willows or thick vegetation, then you're in moose territory. And so maybe you don't bring your dog on that particular hike. And the beautiful thing about Colorado is we have so many places to explore. So pivoting your outdoor plan might be the best option to avoid a moose attack.
Bridget, the attack in Steamboat Springs recently took place at a park in town that was close to homes and the highway. How typical is it for moose to be aggressive in an urban area?
With moose, again, it goes back to that they're not naturally scared of humans. And so they might kind of wander into some of our mountain towns and just curious and looking for new territory to explore that's along drainage ways. And so that's sometimes how they will stumble into our smaller towns.
Gotcha. Okay, now to the big question. What is the best way to protect yourself when a moose charges?
Yes. So the best thing to do is to stay calm, to be mindful of your space with them, and to get behind trees, boulders, cars, anything to create obstacles within their path so that they can't directly charge at you and hurt you.
Okay. Does fighting back make things worse?
Personally, I think that it's a moose and not a bear. A bear, you can create yourself and be bigger and scare it off. With a moose, you might actually just make it mad. So if it's trying to be protective of its area or its space, then yelling at it isn't really going to do anything. The best thing you can do is create distance between yourself and the moose. Just get out of there, basically.
Are cow moose generally more aggressive than male moose?
So it depends. I think with cow moose, they are more protective if a calf is in the area. Male moose will get more territorial if you get too close to them. So they have different reasons, but all moose can be aggressive.
And to be clear, is running from a moose a bad idea?
So if it's charging at you and you do need to create that space to get away, then you should run very quickly. However, it's good to know that humans cannot outrun moose. So if you're going to run, the best thing you can possibly do is get behind trees. If you're sprinting to get behind a tree or a boulder, then that's what you should do.
Okay. Maybe climb a tree.
Yeah, if you can.
I know they can't climb a tree.
Exactly.
That was Bridget O'Rourke with Colorado Parks and Wildlife talking last summer with In the NoCo's Erin O'Toole about moose attacks and staying safe if you encounter a moose. That's it today for In the NoCo. I'm Brad Turner. Thanks for listening.